Hey guys, it's that time of the year again. 13th Colony has released their limited edition cask strength bourbon. And I have a bottle of it, and we are going to get all up in it. Roll that intro. Hey there, folks. Welcome back to T-Rod Whiskey, the internet's most okayest whiskey review channel. I appreciate you tuning in once again. It means a world to me. While you're at it, maybe hit that subscribe button. Maybe hit the bell notification so you can find out when I'm dropping new content. Leave a like, leave a comment. You know, if you're being generous, if you're in that giving mood, right? So now that we're through with the shameless plugging, 13th Colony is slowly becoming one of the biggest names in bourbon and whiskey in America today. They've been around for a very, very long time, but it's only really the last couple of years since the advent of like their double oak and some of their cask strength releases, reaching outside of the state of Georgia, that they're starting to gain, some notoriety. Now, before anybody blasts me for being a bandwagon fan, which I am not, because I have been following this distillery for a hot second. So this was one of their older releases of Southern Rye, and I actually stocked up on a few of these years ago when I traveled out of state. This is, I don't even know what year this is from, but produced and bottled by 13th Colony Distilleries, LLC. So this is all their own distillate. I want to say this one's like 3 years old, 95 proof. The label doesn't look anything like this anymore, obviously, but I have a handful of these bad guys left. There's this, a couple backups, but the real gem is this one here. Comes with the fancy neck tag. It is their corn whiskey batch number, and bear with me because this is a little faded, but batch number 3127-2013. So I think this bottle is maybe 10 or 12 years old, or it was distilled 12 years old and has been sitting on shelves for a hot second. I don't know if the name tag says anything here. I don't want to tear it. Nope, nothing on here. So I don't know. If the folks from 13th Colony are watching this, maybe they can shed some light. But anyways, enough with that stuff. What we're here to talk about today is this guy. The 13th Colony Limited Edition Cask Strength Bourbon. So this one comes in at 120.65 proof. It says distilled in Indiana, but aged and bottled by 13th Colony. So that leads me to believe that maybe this is MGP distillate that was either sourced or contract distilled for 13th Colony, and then it was shipped on over to Georgia, where the unique southern coastal climate kind of played hell with the barrels for a few years, and now we've got something fantastic. I did get into this the other night because I just could not contain myself, but this says small batch Southern bourbon whiskey, hand selected, batch 2025, bottle number, for those of you who care, 7,148. Now, I know 13th Colony has kind of gotten some shade the last couple of years. There was that whole thing about were they adding stuff to the barrels or not. Pretty sure it was proven that they were not putting any additives in their whiskey, in the double oaked, in anything like that. There was no, N95 or some crap like that, the artificial coloring or artificial sweetener or whatever. They weren't adding anything to it. This, obviously it's sourced whiskey, but I mean, it's right there on the label. They're not trying to hide it from anybody because it's pretty open and obvious. But I do like the product and presentation on this one. That label is just, it's eye-catching. And then obviously this birthday bourbon-esque kind of bottle. I mean, normally when you see the super squat bottle like this, there's really two bottles that come to mind for me. One is the birthday bourbon, which, okay, not a bad comparison. And then the other one is the Willet Pot Still, which I wouldn't want to be associated with either. So, sorry guys. But we have our Copita here, and I really want to dive into this because I have heard so many good things about previous batches of the cask strength. I've watched some of Bruzel's videos where he's been hunting, and yeah, you can find the normal bourbons and ryes for, I think here in Michigan, which they just got to Michigan about a week, 2 weeks ago, they retail for $51.99 for the regular shelfers. This one is not available in Michigan, at least not that I have seen, so I had to order mine through Bourbon Outfitter when I got the email, and I was, quick enough on the draw that I was able to get one. So very excited, very happy to have this. It's only had oxygen in it for a day or so, but 2 hands here because I don't want to drop this bottle. This is like gold. I can get a nice little healthy pour in the copita there. And now the first thing that you're going to notice, because the first thing that I noticed, is you got some barrel sediment in here. Sediment. Barrel sediment. Jesus Christ, it's been a long day. I don't know if you guys can see that, but that is a nice dark amber color to this. Ooh, it smells good too. Like caramel and oak. Almost like a bruleed caramel. Some oak. A little bit of herbalness there that's kind of just wispy. A little bit of chocolate, like chocolate, and then just like a hint of some kind of, I don't know what that herbaceous note is. Like for a minute there, I wanted to say spearmint, but it's not minty. It almost smells like gum, but not like super minty gum, if that makes sense. God, I don't know. Super viscous. Just coats the glass really, really well. I know some people are weird about sentiment. God, why do I keep doing that? Sediment from the barrel in their glass. I am not one of them. I think that is flavor. So speaking of flavors, we're going to get into it. Cheers. Whoa. Okay. First drink of the night, so not going to jump right into that. For something like this, I probably should have had a primer pour because that hit me a little bit hot. For 120 proof, it punches a little hard. But that could just be me. My allergies been kind of playing hell the last few days, so forgive me. So we get a piece of that barrel. Yeah, that's just good stuff. So on the palate, that oak presence is definitely coming through. Makes me think this is probably a little bit of an older bourbon. There's like a kitchen spice in there that I just can't put my tongue on, but it is deep. There's a lot going on here. My palate is kind of overwhelmed. I mean, the sides are still trying to figure out what the hell is going on. Vanilla, little like a subtle frosting note, like a cake frosting kind of note. Like a dulce de leche kind of note, but it's drizzled on the burnt wood. The finish has a spice to it. It's almost like a rye spice. I don't know if this is a high rye mash bill. Does it tell us? I don't know what's in this mash bill, but that spice, that pepperiness, like a white pepper, is on the very back. A lot of classical bourbon notes, but just like kind of cranked up. You got your caramels, you got your vanillas, got your toasted wood. There is a fruit in there that I'm just not. I probably need to spend a little more time digging into this, but right off the rip, this is good. You can tell this is a deep, rich, complex bourbon that just has a lot of qualities about it and a lot going on, to be honest. Maybe like a chocolate raspberry note. I don't know what that fruit is. It's not quite red fruit, but it's definitely not white fruit either. Like almost like a raspberry, but it's like a muted, very, very mid raspberry. It's not like a super bitter, super tart, super sweet raspberry. And the caramel is definitely getting stronger on the nose for me. Like a caramel pudding cup. If you got our butterscotch, that's what it is. Like a butterscotch snack pack. Yeah. Like a butterscotch snack pack. You used to get them a lot as a kid. And that's exactly what this nose is. It's just rich butterscotch pudding. And then on the palate, just oaky, vanilla, kind of, it's not a flan note, but like, yeah, dulce de leche is kind of what I would say. And then on the finish, you got more oak, some rye spice, maybe some kitchen spice, some white pepper on the sides of the palate, and it lingers forever. It hangs on a good amount. Let's see what the bottle says here. 13th Colony Cask Strength Bourbon is our flagship straight bourbon whiskey, but bottled at full barrel strength, uncut for maximum flavor. Each release of our cask strength bourbon is its own unique batch with a distinctive proof point and is limited in quantity. Worth drinking slow. Okay. I mean, this is bottle 7,148, leading me to believe that there's probably around 7,500 bottles, if not more. So I don't know how limited it really is, but I mean, that's not a huge number either. We're not talking Midwinter Nights dram batches of like 150,000 bottles. This is really good. I enjoy this quite a bit. I want to dive into this more. I feel like if I let this sit in the glass for a little while longer, it would open up, it would bloom, it would change. But we don't have that kind of time, and you guys don't want to listen to me drone on and on about this for that long. So one more final sip, and then we're going to give it a score. That fruitiness is becoming more evident as it opens up. Yeah, and on the finish, it's just a little bit of a spice monster on the finish, man. It's spicy. Not spicy hot, spicy like kitchen spicy. All right, so a score. I'm thinking 8.7. 8.7. Yeah, that sounds about right. This is very flavorful, very complex, it's impactful but nuanced at the same time. There's kind of a lot going on here. There's a lot to pick through. This is not something where you just want to pour a glass and just throw it down. This is something that you're going to want to savor. You're going to want to enjoy. You're going to want to dissect it. You're going to sit here and just really dig into what the glass has to offer. I know at least that's what I want to do with this, right? As far as the value on this, $100. So what does that get you in today's bourbon market? Most any decent bottle is going to cost you right around $100, especially if it's not from one of your legacy big boys, which 13th Colony, I wouldn't say they're, craft necessarily. They might be by, typical standards. I feel like everybody kind of knows about 13th Colony at this point for one reason or another. And I know their reach is really starting to get out there. So I personally don't classify them as craft anymore. They're definitely not a legacy brand either. So they're kind of stuck in that middle area. But yeah, that's what I got, guys. I think this is really good. For the $100 price point, I think you could do a whole hell of a lot worse. Would I pick this up again for $100? Goddamn right I would. This is absolutely amazing. This makes me want to smack my mama in the mouth, okay? It is real good. I can't wait to see what some of the other whiskey tubers have to say about this. But for me, I think it's really good. I'm sure there's going to be those couple people that are like, oh, this batch is trash. Last year's batch was so much better. Maybe so. That might be the way of it. I don't know. I honestly don't care because I think this is extremely good bourbon. So that's it, guys. That's all I have. Thanks for tuning in. Please make sure you tune in next time. Hit that subscribe button once again, and I will catch you on the next one. Cheers.